22nd All-Ireland final gets underway, and it's Kerry who take the possession. Anthony Marr losing it, stolen from him by Michael Dara McCauley, linking up here with James McCarthy. Held on to well in there by Diarmuid Connolly. Slippery conditions, back towards Paul Flynn from 45 metres out. Has Alan Brogan going in there pursuing that one. In there as well was Killian Young, and the umpire has waved it wide. The umpire down there is Jimmy Galligan. Just have a look at this again here to see who did get the final touch. Hard to tell.
Hard to tell from that one, but Alan Brogan was disappointed that the decision didn't go his way.
Brendan Keeley ready to kick this one, his first kick out. And it'll be interesting to see how both sets of players attack the goalkeeper's kickouts in this match. Probably more so than normally is the case. Kerry hold on to it here. Owen Brosnan, about whom there was a concern, sends it neatly down to Donncha Walsh. James McCarthy slow in getting back to him. Donncha Walsh leaving it off to Darren O'Sullivan. This man has got tremendous speed inside here, and it's Fisty. Declan O'Sullivan credited with the opening point of the match. Wonderful assist pass. Swift move by Kerry. Lovely coordination here. Darren O'Sullivan sending it into Declan O'Sullivan, and a brilliant score by Kerry.
And it all stemmed from Kieran Donaghy winning a ball out around the middle of the field. Donaghy is at midfield. Declan O'Sullivan is full forward, and Darren O'Sullivan is playing at centre half forward.
Which was anticipated that he would run at Cher Brennan from that kick out. It's taken once again by Kerry. This time Anthony Marr needing a second touch. Dished off to Darren O'Sullivan. Quick look up then, and Kerry just hold the possession. O'Sullivan once again, while he was looking for Kieran O'Leary, finding instead Cian O'Sullivan. By the way, Cian O'Sullivan and Mick Fitzsimons have switched their numbers, switched their jerseys. So Fitzsimons is 2, Sullivan is 4, and not as they were programmed. That's something that happened also when the teams met here in the league at the end of February. Same 2, well, not same 2. Alan Hubbard was one of the quarterbacks, Mitch Fitzsimons was the other one that night, and they also switched their jerseys. Not quite sure if it's a superstition. Here's Mark O'Shea to his brother Tomas. Held on to by Anthony Marr, his third possession in this final. Look where Kieran Donaghy's come. They leave 3 inside. Need to get the ball in. Donaghy holds it. Pat McEnany, the linesman, had a look at it, so the ball was still in play. Down towards Declan O'Sullivan. Rory O'Carroll going across there to try and keep him out on the margins. O'Sullivan got by, dished it back. Darren O'Sullivan held on to here by Brian Sheehan. Beautiful ball into Owen Brosnan, used to play on the half forwards, lost it. Great recovery challenge that time. Cian O'Sullivan got in. Back up as far as Alan Brogan. Dublin trying to mount a meaningful attack. Beautifully in as far as Diarmuid Connolly, kicking it off the left. Oh, well taken down by Brendan Keeley. Many another goalkeeper might have given up on that one and tapped it over the bar for security purposes. Tomas O'Shea, slack marking. Donncha Walsh picks it up again. 65 metres out from the Kerry goal, pursued there by Brian Cullen. Still holds it. One man to aim at. Down there it's Declan O'Sullivan. Lost it. Taken by Brian Cullen. Fed back here as far as Cian O'Sullivan once more. Lobbed as far as Dennis Bastick. Now Michael Dara McCauley, the Ballyboden St Enda's player. Getting himself into difficulty there momentarily was Paul Flynn. Now James McCarthy striding forward purposefully. 3 Kerry men go to him. Weight of numbers counted there. Good fast start to the match.
Great ebb and flow to it altogether, Gerard. That time I think it was James McCarthy got forward, but 3 Kerry players around him. Brosnan has got forward on a couple of occasions, lost the ball. What is noticed is that players who are hopping the ball's running away from them on the slippery surface.
James McCarthy forward as far as Alan Brogan here, trying to cut inside onto his left, and he's dragged that one, misdirecting his first shot off the target. Kerry still leading by a 0-0 score in the 5th minute.
Yeah, this is a ball in, and Brendan Keeley, who is suspect on a high ball, did very well on that and prevented the ball going over the bar.
Kerry going again. Tomas O'Shea. He's got lots of space. He can carry it another 20 metres. Up into Fister inside towards his captain. Cooper takes it well. Back in here towards Kieran O'Leary. Back to Cooper. Runs into Fitzsimons. Blocks his route to go. Difficulty there for O'Leary getting it up. Goes to Darren O'Sullivan instead. Former captain. Out as far as Brian Sheehan. Looking for latitude. 2 men after him. One of them, Ger Brennan. And Brennan did enough, I think, just to put the pressure on him and force it left of the posts.
Yeah, that's great scramble defence by the Dublin team that time, and once again Paul Flynn got in the tackle.
Interesting that all this while Kieran Donaghy's operating around the middle of the park. This time watching as Anthony Marr was fouled. Free kick to be taken by the 24-year-old from Dubois into Kieran O'Leary. Doesn't play an orthodox left corner forward spot, tends to come out around the half backs, makes angles for others. This is Michael Dara McCauley. Dublin need to hold on to the ball and start getting a few attacks together. Fitzsimons, about whom there was also a suspicion that he mightn't start the match because of a rumoured injury. Ger Brennan almost plays the libero role in the half-back line. James McCarthy now, second time to get forward. Booted in towards Connolly. Connolly was slipping, taken in by his marker, Tom O'Sullivan instead. Wily old fox. Anthony Marr. Back to Mark O'Shea. Tomas. Here's Donaghy. Moving forward out of half-back. And Kerry just hold possession. Owen Brosnan again. Kerry showing the maturity that comes from playing in all these All-Ireland finals over the years. Dublin have made an uncertain start. Here's Donegal Walsh looking for another one. Put under pressure, Cluxton comes, gets a good fist on it. Out towards Fitzsimons. In the end, gathered in there by Barry Cahill. Swept across to Paul Flynn here. They'll be expecting a big performance from the Fungolians player, and that ball's gone out of the sideline. Cluxton did well here.
Very well, came out very assured under the high ball that time. In fairness, O'Leary isn't the tallest of players, but was very decisive in getting the ball away. Oh,
Tom O'Sullivan almost got himself into difficulty there, doing his soloing out of defence. Instead, it's Tomas O'Shea. 77th championship match today. Hard to buy that kind of experience. Into Cooper. Dished off again towards O'Leary. On as far as Darren O'Sullivan steps away from Ger Brennan's challenge. Kerry hold it with assurance. Lobbed in there. Declan O'Sullivan is the menacing figure at full forward. Touchdown here. And as Donegal Walsh was coming onto it, couldn't quite get it under control. But there are so many Kerry options in attack.
Yeah, that was dangerous that time, but very good scramble defence once again by the Dublin lads in the full back line. In very quickly, anticipated the danger and forced Walsh to put the ball wide.
Well, Kerry have had the lion's share of it in the opening 8 minutes of this match, but only a point to show. Cluxton's kick out, usually very precise. He goes long this time. Brian Sheehan there jumping with Michael Dara McCauley, and trying to pick up the pieces was Kieran Donaghy, who was fouled by Bastick. Free kick quickly taken, in as far as Declan O'Sullivan, drifting away from Rory O'Carroll. He could cause this young fullback a lot of problems. Still touched on the ground, I think. Yes, it was. Free out.
Yeah, O'Carroll's having a great tussle at the moment with Declan O'Sullivan. He's sticking to his task very well, putting pressure on Declan O'Sullivan that time, who did touch the ball on the ground, and the referee, Joe McQuillan, gave the correct decision. Rory
O'Carroll, the fullback today, only 21 years of age. Great prospect. Goes short Dublin to Alan Brogan. Aidan O'Mahony trying to cut it out, going after it himself, rather scrambling after it. Barry Cahill out over the sideline. Line ball to Kerry. And a shoulder for afters as well for Cahill's trouble from the number 7 from Rathmore.
Yeah, Aidan O'Mahony in with the shoulder that time on Barry Cahill, forced the ball out over the line. Just giving him a second greeting there to remind him that he's around.
Timely reminder that Kerry are not going to be taken for granted, and that ball was scrambled for there by Owen Brosnan on the ground. Boot went out, and the referee signalled us that it's going to be a free kick. And the man who's going to take it will be Stephen Cluxton, who's got 10 points already in this year's championship, to go with 5 he's got already in his career. He's 4th highest scorer for Dublin in this year's championship.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Kerry in the way they have restructured the team. Donaghy, I thought, would just come out for the throw-in, but he's been at midfield since the beginning of the game. And Declan O'Sullivan is in at full forward, being marked by Rory O'Carroll, and over the first 10 minutes or so, they're having a great tussle.
But it means that Cian O'Sullivan, or one of the backs, is free at the other end. Cluxton shooting, and that's gone left of target. He's missed the opportunity. Third wide for Dublin. Crowd getting right behind both teams here, looking for a ding-dong final. And the players on both teams, by the way, have asked me to wish the best to Ireland's great rugby team, watching the final in the wee hours of New Zealand. Everybody thrilled with their performance yesterday. That's kicked out by Keeley again, but it's to a Dublin player, to Michael Darragh Macaulay. Outside of the boot, forward towards Bernard Brogan, taking on Mark O'Shea. That could be a tasty duel once again. Alan Brogan coming in here. Killian Young alongside him, gets the shot in. The crowd will tell you where it's gone over the bar. Alan Brogan getting Dublin's first. That's the trophy they're hoping to bring with them, a replica, but anyway, up from the Hill 16 today. But a lovely, well-constructed move there involving Bernard Brogan, finished off by Allen, and it's Dublin 1, Kerry 1.
Yeah, that was a great aerial shot actually of what happened that time. Killian Young is marking Alan Brogan, going one-to-one with him, but Brogan was confident with his own ability at that time, shot a great open score for them.
Again, it's Kieran Donaghy who wins the kick out there ahead of James McCarthy, and then is able to feed it to colleagues. Aidan O'Mahony fouled here by Paul Flynn. And the referee's got to bring the ball forward 13 metres, penalising Dublin yardage. And he's going to have a word as well with Paul Flynn. A bit early in the game to be picking up cautions from the referee.
Yeah, a little bit of inexperience that time on Paul Flynn's part. He got involved unnecessarily, I thought, with Kieran Donaghy, and has earned himself a yellow card very early in the game to be picking that up.
Well, Dublin will be hoping that he will be his usual hugely effective self, but that time he was leading with the hands, as you could see. Free kick, which Brian Sheehan's going to take, just inside Dublin's 65-metre line. Ooh, that was precise, and it just skids on the ground here and away from Darren O'Sullivan, but the idea was so clever.
The idea was clever. Darren O'Sullivan has lost his marker very well, and that's probably down to the fact that Ger Brennan is marking the space in front of the D and not going one-to-one with Darren O'Sullivan.
Level pegging on the scoreboard as that kick out comes towards Barry Cahill. Instead it falls for Brian Cullen, the captain, and he was being fouled from behind by Anthony Marr. Free to Dublin. This to be taken by Barry Cahill. Well, he's got options inside. The two Brogans are waiting for it if it comes in their direction. Might via Kevin Nolan now in a moment. Quickly to react to it there was Brian Sheehan. Got it out as far as Tom O'Sullivan. Fisted further out here as far as Killian Young. He's playing out around the half-back line, wherever Alan Brogan goes. Darren O'Sullivan is off. Two men after him. Good support play from Donaghy, almost like he's playing a basketball game, almost just staying there for a moment and considering his options. Anthony Marr back out as far as Tomas O'Shea. Kerry almost toying on occasions with this young Dublin team, still level on the scoreboard however. O'Shea against Cullen, opting to kick it in the end, put under pressure, good pressure by Brian Cullen, out via Cluxton. Ger Brennan now to start the counter-attack, taking it back from Paul Flynn. Out to Bastick. Oof, let it bounce rather nervously. Under pressure immediately from his man, who's Brian Sheehan. Line ball to Dublin, however. Dublin will be hoping to weather the early storm here. Ball to piece. Just trying to find their feet in this final still. Paul Flynn. Kicked in the end by Dennis Bastick. 1 against 3, and the one took it. That's Diarmuid Connolly. Chipped ahead neatly. Bernard Brogan. After him, Mark O'Shea. Again, the ground not doing the players any great deal of favour. All the rain we had earlier on. Out by Anthony Marr eventually. Kerry hold to Tom O'Sullivan. There too is Donica Walsh. Coming away as Anthony Marr. Slipped as far as Aidan O'Mahony. And eventually lost by Killian Young. Lost to Alan Brogan, who kicks and scores another. Two in a row for Alan Brogan, and Dublin take the lead by 2 points to 1, and we're in the 15th minute.
Yeah, Kerry might feel aggrieved somewhat that Killian Young coming out with the ball that time was foul, but I think the referee was correct in letting the play go on, and Brogan's got the opportunity and took it superbly.
Prospects of a fascinating All-Ireland final. Free kick to Kerry, taken by Tomas O'Shea. Down here as far as Declan O'Sullivan, holding off the challenges of a couple of Dublin players, one of them Kevin Nolan on the ground. It's got to be a free kick.
Yeah, there's an interesting tactical issue going on at the moment with Dublin, or with Kerry as well. Anthony Maher is playing very far back in his half-back line, and I think Donaghy has moved to wing forward.
The hand there of Declan O'Sullivan was what made contact with Kevin Nolan. Just coming back here, there you are. I don't think he intended it. His hand was coming back. Probably didn't know where the Dublin player was.
Wasn't intentional.
Giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Exactly, trying to brush him off somewhat, but definitely caught Kevin Nolan in the face.
Kevin Nolan, who's now teaching in Ongar in Lucan. Player who works very prodigiously and has been doing so all summer. He really felt the effects of that arm. Dublin fans in full voice on Hill 16 and every other part of Croke Park, enjoying their team in front.
Yeah, and they have a right to be excited by their team at the moment. They weathered the initial storm that Kerry threw at them. They're playing very composed football at the moment. They have managed to put great pressure on the Kerry attack anytime the ball has gone in there. And the influence that we thought Colin Cooper would be able to exert early on in the game hasn't manifested itself so far.
Jack O'Connor there in consultation with his backroom team, which included there, as you can see on the right-hand side, Alan O'Sullivan, that's the physical trainer. And there's the face of Kevin Nolan from Kilmacud Crokes, the 22-year-old. I'm giving Declan O'Sullivan the benefit of the doubt, as I mentioned earlier, that it wasn't absolutely intentional, but the referee has given a free kick anyway, which is the correct decision.
Correct, yeah, but I wouldn't in any way blame Declan O'Sullivan for that. I think he was just trying to push the lad away, which is perfectly legitimate, and in doing so he did catch its space, but there was nothing intentional in it.
So Tomas O'Shea will take it, now only 4 championship appearances behind his brother Dara. Race for possession here, eventually kicked in by Anthony Marr. Donaghy now watches. There's nothing he can do about it as the ball again skids on the turf, and that's a 4th wide by Kerry, who trail by 2 points to 1.
Yeah, that's quite ragged by Kerry. That's untypical of Kerry. They're not finding their inside men at all, which is most unlike them.
This is towards Flynn, but this time it's taken down and won there by Owen Brosnan. I think Kerry have been watching the videos of Dublin because they target Paul Flynn so often from those kickouts by Cluxton. But Dublin have it back. Cher Brennan going long inside towards Diarmuid Connolly, fisted away by Kerry have been watching the videos of Dublin because they target Paul Flynn so often from those kickouts by Cluxton. But Dublin have it back. Cher Brennan going long inside towards Diarmuid Connolly, fisted away by Tom O'Sullivan. Other players then to pick up the pieces, this time Tomas O'Shea onto Darren O'Sullivan. This man has got great pace. Here he goes, dished off here beautifully. What a goal, that's an absolute peach. And it's the captain who's got it, and it's scored in the 19th minute. And once again, it was the pace of Darren O'Sullivan that cut open the Dublin defence. He knifed his way through. Wonderful run, a penetrating move, dished off to Cooper at the precise time, and what a finish. And it's now 1-1 to 2 points.
Cooper's wonderful dropping off that time, getting into the correct position to receive the pass, but Darren O'Sullivan, like a knife through butter, the way he went through the Dublin defence. That was a magnificent constructed goal and executed goal. Great response from Kerry.
Now let's see what the quick response from Dublin's going to be. Rocked by the concession of that. Michael Darragh-Macaulay kicking it in. Alan Brogan goes racing after it, but it's going to beat everybody for pace once again. And the place still humming as a result of what was Colin Cooper's 18th ever championship goal.
Yes, Gas in the semi-final against Mayo, he scored 1-7, haven't had quite enough first half, but just watch the timing of that pass and the way Cooper just side-footed it into the corner. That's precision personified. Beautiful execution by Cooper.
It's like as if he's just passing it past the goalkeeper. Back in the middle of the park, Dublin win it. And this time it's Barry Cahill who's fouled by Owen Brosnan. Dublin have got to win those physical battles against Kerry if they're to prevail here. Brian Cullen switching the direction. Neatly forward here, taken in once again by Paul Flynn. Back as far as Bastick. Scored against Tyrone. Bit of a rarity, that one. Left well short. Tomas O'Shea. Here's Mark O'Shea. Fisted across here this time as far as Aidan O'Mahony. Loads of experience there. Kerry will keep it nice and calm. Won't get too excited about anything. Darren O'Sullivan goes down, that time under Michael Darragh Macaulay's challenge. A foul challenge, free kick.
Yeah, that's a straightforward foul up around the neck. Joe McQuillan has no option but to award a free to Kerry.
Jack O'Connor getting very animated. His player down injured. Earlier on it was Kevin Nolan who was down injured. There is going to be a change for Kerry, and the man who's going to come on, and probably the rafters will be raised, will be Paul Galvin, ready to be introduced. Ger O'Keefe there, one of the selectors, alongside him. Meanwhile, Kerry go back into the attack again. Kieran O'Leary going low, trying to play it back out. Donaghy held on here by O'Sullivan. That's Darren O'Sullivan. Down towards Kieran O'Leary as well, playing in his first All-Ireland final. And the 24-year-old gets it across beyond Cooper. Falls for Michael Darragh Macaulay instead. Tracked back well. The final pass out though, just about kept in there by Paul Flynn. This is Ger Brennan stepping away from trouble. Sheehan's after him. Still Brennan. Michael Darragh Macaulay once again. Head up, looking for a colleague. Finding Cahill with a precise pass. This is much better from Dublin. Cahill going through, being urged forward, taken down just outside the large rectangle. Free in.
Yeah, I think that's the secret for Dublin. If they can get forwards in a situation where they can take on the Kerry backs one-on-one. That time Cahill went straight line, got past Aidan O'Mahony, who conceded the free just outside the large parallelogram.
That time frailties shown among the Kerry defenders. 5 of the 6 over 31 years of age, remember. This free kick to be taken by Bernard Brogan, looking for his first point of the match. And there was a yellow card there, which is to Aidan O'Mahony. So a yellow card per team. Bernard Brogan kicking this, routine one for him, puts it over the bar. Bernard Brogan puts it over, and it's 1-1 to 3 points. Off the ball. While we were watching that, this is what was happening down at the other end of the field.
Well, I saw what was happening there. Now, I didn't see ultimately what happened, but what happened there, I think Declan O'Sullivan and Rory O'Carroll came over. Declan O'Sullivan came over to have a word with Jack O'Connor. Rory O'Carroll came with him. Now, I don't know what happened after that, but certainly Declan O'Sullivan down in a heap. So, you can only speculate that maybe Rory O'Carroll made contact with him, but I didn't see it actually happening, but I saw the prelude to it.
Well, it resulted in Joe McQuillan going down to have a word with his umpires now. And down there at the Hill 16 end, Jimmy Galligan and T.P. Gray are the 2 umpires. So what did the men in white see? No need for Judge Judy. We've got the 2 men here who probably will have had a very good view. Declan O'Sullivan and Rory O'Carroll. Martin, you were saying the 2 involved?
Yep. I think Declan O'Sullivan came over to the sideline to get instructions from Jack O'Connor. Rory O'Carroll came with him. Now, whatever happened after that, I'm not so sure, but they were certainly having words with one another.
So it's going to result in a card here. And a quick flash of yellow showed to Rory O'Carroll. Dublin 2 yellow cards, Kerry 1. And Kerry are making a change. This is what happened. Have a look at this again.
Yeah. One rushing off the other. Just watch it here. Don't see anything much in that so far.
Well, that was the completion of that particular episode. Now Kieran O'Leary I saw coming off the field there, and I think Paul Galvin has gone in. And that's a very early time to be making that change. Only 24 minutes of the match gone. Kieran O'Leary had hardly enough time to get into his stride before Kerry decides to bring on Galvin, who was trying to get the ball there from Barry Cahill. Now it's Brian Cullen. Lobbed in there. Touchdown brilliantly. And finish. Oh, should have been by Alan Brogan until Brendan Keeley got in the way. They say he's a great shot stopper. That was a fabulous piece of goalkeeping. As the two Brogans were involved, that'll be worth looking at again in a moment. But Brendan Keeley has stopped a certain Dublin goal.
This is a third bit of goalkeeping by Keeley once again. Against Cork he did it with, I think it was Paul Kerrigan. He did it on a couple of occasions against me, but that there was the best of a lot of them.
Great pace in the match. Down as far as Declan O'Sullivan here. Three blue shirts alongside him. Cuts it back to Donegal Walsh. Taking off, trying to get past Nolan. And eventually it's Mick Fitzsimons who comes out. The cool youngster. Fouled, free out. Point between them. Kerry still in front. Low scoring All-Ireland final. Up as far as Alan Brogan, taken away here by James McCarthy. Kicked in diagonally towards Connolly, takes it down. Quick look at the post. Three men after him, make it two now at this stage. It's still Diarmuid Connolly. Oh, very tamely hit. Easy one for Keeley. Out as far as Mark O'Shea. And it's Kerry's turn to breathe a sigh of relief that time. Dublin should have had a couple of scores in the last two attacks. Ended up getting absolutely nothing. Still Tomas O'Shea, now 33 years of age. Down as far as Cooper, the goal scorer. Foul there by Fitzsimons, his marker.
Well, just going back to that save again, it must be said that Alan Brogan had time to compose himself and pick a spot, and that's what made the save all the more meritorious.
That time, Donegal Walsh had time to pick a spot. Into Donaghy! Oh, wonderful stop! Cian O'Sullivan this time! Brilliant work by Cian O'Sullivan, the UCD student and the Kilmacud Crokes player. Match really hotting up. Michael Darragh Macaulay, 65 metres from his own goal. Way back there is Alan Brogan. Neat pass in, fumbled there by Flynn. In came Galvin. Referee said, leading him with the boot. Free kick to Dublin. Dublin took it too quickly, and they'll have to take it again. Paul Flynn's down injured.
No, I thought Galvin attacked that ball fair and square along with Paul Flynn. Maybe the boot made contact all right, but certainly went hard for it, and he was perfectly entitled to go in for that. Watch that save in that case. I see what Kieran Donaghy was complaining about. He probably felt that the ball was touching the ground, but just watch it. Alan Brogan has time here, but Keeley with his right hand gets a strong hand to it and deflects the ball away to safety. Great save.
Oh, he's done really well this year, Brendan Keeley, producing several of those important saves. Back in the middle of the park, the referee is going to award a free kick, and up comes Stephen Cluxton to try and kick a point, his second time to hit a long-range free for Dublin. Last one was a little bit nearer. This is central, as you can see. That's the distance out. What, about 50 metres?
It hasn't been a most enjoyable game up to now. I know there have only been, whatever it is, 5 scores in the game, but it's so exceptional football from both sides, and both defences doing very, very well.
Sheer intensity so far. Cluxton kicking up into the air. It's got accuracy, it's got everything. It's over the bar. And the teams are level. It's Kerry 1-1, Dublin 4 points. Teams level for the second time. What a reliable kicker from frees like that Stephen Cluxton has become.
I think this is his 11th point of the championship, which is an amazing statistic for a goalkeeper.
Into the middle of the park again it comes. Broken down that time by Michael Darragh Macaulay. Picked up by Kerry, by Donegal Walsh. Across there by Galvin. Gives it away. Onto it quickly came Brian Cullen. Now Macaulay. Into space it comes. Running across for Bernard Brogan. Fair old distance from the goal. Mark O'Shea out there. What a kick. What a point. That's superb by Bernard Brogan. Top footballer last year. Doing well in this final. And Dublin lead by 5 points to 1-1. Kerry with only 2 scores in the match so far.
Yeah, that came as a badly directed pass from Paul Galvin. Well picked up, but notice the ball by Macaulay out into the corner. It isolated Brogan with Mark O'Shea in a 1-to-1, and Brogan's kick had all the accuracy in the fine score.
The kick out for Kerry has all the accuracy as well. Brian Sheehan initially, Tomas O'Shea, and then finally from Galvin back to Mark O'Shea. 11 minutes since Kerry scored. Dublin now winning the major battles. Bastic in, and it runs away unkindly from Bernard Brogan. The ball just wouldn't oblige. But
The ball
Pat Gilroy must be pleased.
He must be pleased. The ball wouldn't oblige, and I think a lot of the Kerry passing isn't obliging themselves at the moment. There's so many missed passes. They're being put under huge pressure by the Dublin middle third players. It's a fascinating contest out around the middle at the moment.
David Hickey there in the background as well, one of the stars of the past in the 70s. And the 2011 final, going up for that one, was Dennis Bastick. And acrobatically getting himself back on his feet again. Free taken by Barry Cahill for that foul on Bastick. Taken in here by Alan Brogan. Brogan doing well against Killian Young. The target in there was Bernard Brogan. Instead it's Mark O'Shea winning this one. Covering well, out as far as Brosnan. All the way down, intended for Darren O'Sullivan. Comes bouncing back into the middle of the park once again. Dublin with a high energy level. They've got youth and fitness. They've got David Connolly. Galvin was after him, tripped him, free in. And another chance of a point here.
That was a clumsy concession of a free that time by Galvin. Didn't get around the defending side as he should have done. And that's a silly free to concede in a very threatening area.
Well, he got 20 touches when he came on in the semi-final against Mayo for the second half. Ola has been a vital figure in Kerry teams over the years. 31 years of age now, 7th All-Ireland final appearance. Diarmuid Sullivan down there getting some attention.
Yeah, he hasn't had an awful lot of game time this year, and he may not be as sharp as he'd like to be, and maybe that was, an example of the fact that he's just a little bit off the pace at the moment.
Physio Kieran O'Reilly is in there attending to the stricken St Vincent's player. Bernard Brogan's got 2 points so far. The fans for Dublin are happy. The Kerry fans must be a little bit tense. The lead has changed hands 3 times in this final so far. Mickey Whelan there alongside Pat Gilroy. Now Bernard Brogan is 25 metres from the target. Should suit him. His team a point ahead already. 3 minutes to go to half-time. He's got it. 3rd point for the 27-year-old. 2 of them coming from frees. And Dublin stretch out to a 2-point lead. It's been a fair old while since Kerry scored.
It hasn't. You'd be very concerned about the middle of the park. Neither Maher or Sheehan are getting on much ball at the moment. That has to be a cause of great concern.
Dublin are grouping well, winning the breaks. Paul Flynn, probably still a little bit worried by that hamstring that has been troubling him in the last few weeks. Out it comes to Brian Sheehan. Kerry now need to steady things, stabilise their efforts. Sheehan to Mulso O'Shea. Now Mark O'Shea going out wide, out as far as Killian Young. Fed inside once again, Tom O'Sullivan. Declan O'Sullivan now has come back to a much deeper role. Darren O'Sullivan lets it run away from 2 Kerry players collide. The other one is Donegal Walsh, and the referee saw it as a foul and a free kick.
I think it was Keane O'Sullivan, was it, that conceded that free. He's at the moment, by the way, marking Darren O'Sullivan. That switch had been made by Pat Gilroy a couple of moments ago. And Cooper is still being marked by Michael Fitzsimons. And what it must be said, he's not getting much supply of the ball at the moment.
Kerry haven't scored now since the 19th minute of this final. So here we are, 2 minutes to go to the break. And it's Brian Sheehan who will hit this free kick from just outside the 45-metre line. The mist has eased. It's become a very pleasant day. Whatever breeze there is blowing across from left to right as he faces this one. It's across the field the wind today. Sheehan with a lovely languid style of free kicking normally. Let's see how he does here. Connects well, but it's got to drop short. And it bounces back out again to Darren O'Sullivan. Back out to the Gooch. Back out to Galvin. And the enfant terrible puts it over. Narrows the gap. One between them. Paul Galvin's first point since coming on. Well, that free kick didn't quite have the distance that time, but it was Kerry who were sharp and alert to the possibilities, and Galvin direct and true with his kicking.
A lovely example that time of unselfish play. First of all by Darren O'Sullivan, passing it out to Cooper, who in turn transferred it to Galvin, and that'll do Galvin the world of good to put that one over the bar.
Dublin goes short with their kick out to Fitzsimons. There'll be 2 additional minutes played at the end of the opening 35. Oh, that was left by Aidan O'Mahony and gleefully taken by Barry Cahill. which was a mistake because Ger Brennan's now up with the attack and they've got a free kick. Well, there was a situation where Aidan O'Mahony was leaving the ball out. Galvin's back protesting. Dublin got on about their business. And it ends up with a free kick here. Galvin after Ger Brennan. And was there much in that?
Oh, I thought that was a very, very soft free. Galvin, I thought, did the right thing that time. He got on the goal side of his attacker. I thought he got into the correct situation to actually defend it. I thought that was a very harsh call against him.
So for harsh, for soft, we say wrong call, referee. Bernard Brogan taking it, and he's put it wide. 6-5 still in points. Dublin still leading. We're into time added on. I'm sure he'll have plenty to say to his charges. So the wide 6-4, Dublin leading for the all-important score, the one on the bottom, or the top left-hand corner. Here's Brosnan. Kerry behind by a point, heading towards half-time. Declan O'Sullivan on towards Darren O'Sullivan. You still feel there's an awful lot of football left in the forwards if they get possession. Need to win midfield, however. Back towards Donegal Walsh. Well, they're going across the field. They've gone to Jamal Sochet, who's got 1-4 in finals in the past. Here's Anthony Marr getting away from Ger Brennan. Is there an end product? There's a free in. It's a fair distance out. It's an opportunity for Kerry to draw level just before the half-time break as James McCarthy came up and over Anthony Marr.
Came up and over, and I thought, to be honest with you, Anthony Marr had run out of options that time. Thought he'd lost his way. The attack seemed to have died with him. And James McCarthy, I thought maybe a little bit unlucky once more to have actually conceded a free in.
So it's going to be Colm Cooper who will take this. Looking for a point to go with the goal he scored after 19 minutes. Kerry behind by a point. He's hit it truly. And he's put it wide, unfortunately, from a Kerry point of view. Didn't quite have the line.
Yeah, I just wonder about the wind down there. Was kicking that ball into a difficult enough wind? The wind, as we can see it from the flags, was blowing directly into him that time, but he seemed to force that kick and just drifted wide.
So the 2 minutes of stoppage time has now been played, and the referee having a look at his watch, I can tell you, as Stephen Cluxton sums up his options. It's half-time at the... He hasn't come to midfield for the start of the second half. This time they've gone with the conventional 8 and 9, and they're Mara and Sheehan. So down they get it as far as Alan Brogan. Brogan tormenting Killian Young, trying to make an angle for himself. It's a tight one, a little bit too tight on this occasion, and he has tugged it left of the post. Trying to make the best possible start to the second half. Pat Gilroy and his team out first. I'd say he was quietly pleased with the way things have gone so far. The game plan working for him.
Definitely worked to perfection for him, and his wing forwards in particular, the likes of Brian Cullen, Paul Flynn and, I must say, Cahill, putting in great defensive stints. Kerry
winning their own kick out this time, but look how far back Jamal Sochet is forced to go, all the way back along. Mark O'Shea now. Again, Kerry build up in measured fashion out of defence here. Donegal Walsh now. Jamal Sochet. Looking for the first point of the second half. Sent it long towards Donaghy. Broke it down, but there's a Dublin player there waiting for it. Kevin Nolan. Helped out by McLaren McCauley. A little bit of work there for James McCarthy to do. His dad was a star when Dublin last beat Kerry in an All-Ireland final, 76. His dad, John, scored the first goal, was hauled down for the second, which resulted in a penalty. Dublin trying to bridge a long gap in terms of victories over Kerry in a final. Ger Brennan now. On as far as Barry Cahill. Comes back in the end here as far as Declan O'Sullivan. Trying to get around Paul Flynn. Holding the possession. Marr required. long in towards Colin Cooper, and the Gooch trying to transfer it to Brian Sheehan. It broke down, but Simon's got in. Clever defending. Now James McCarthy. Support players coming to help out. Look how far back Alan Brogan has come. Ger Brennan now. Oof, hefty challenge there. Aidan O'Mahony went in, but again it's recycled by Dublin. Bastick initially, now his partner in midfield, Macaulay. Out as far as Cullen, who slips, gets up quickly. Forward by Alan Brogan into the corner. Macaulay made up a lot of ground. Now he's through, and he's hauled down outside the large rectangle. A player who got a goal in the league match back at the end of February, a kind of drop kick on that occasion, and he had the goal in his sights again here in this All-Ireland final. And Dublin resorting, Kerry resorting to hauling him down. Brian Sheehan getting the yellow card for that.
And rightly gets a yellow card for that. Brian Sheehan that time, a desperation tackle, it must be said. Macaulay showed great persistence in driving forward that time, probably going to fist a point, may have been able to drive on further and gone for a goal, but cynical tackle by Sheehan gives an easy opportunity to Bernard Brogan.
Well, he just got him, Martin, that time about a metre outside the large rectangle. It'll be Bernard Brogan who will take it. 3 points from the first half, 2 of them from frees. 3 of Dublin's 6 points have come from free kicks. And this one is straight up and over. Good start to the second half. This is what was happening again here. Look for Brian Sheehan after the other number 9, and look at the large rectangle just there in front of him. Got him just in time. Keeley kicking out into the centre of the park. Every man fighting for his own ball, but it's Dublin who win it. Cullen, Nolan back here as far as James McCarthy, fleet-footed. Hand pass by Nolan again to Brian Cullen, needs a second go at it. Has a man outside in support, it's Bastick. Where's the Kerry marking? Garland coming after Bastick. Bastick withstands the challenge. Out to Bernard Brogan, back in here to Bastick. And Bastick has kicked it over. Good work by the Temple Oak Sing Street player. His 3rd point of this year's championship. A lovely combined effort by Dublin. Intent all the way on ending up with a scoring position. And Dennis Bastick, the one who delivers.
Yeah, it must be said, Dublin are away livelier, away fitter, seem away fitter, and around the middle of the field in particular, they win the second ball all the time. They're putting far greater pressure on Kerry. And Kerry are finding it so hard to manoeuvre the ball forward. Tomas
O'Shea kicked into space towards Donaghy. Rory O'Carroll just trying to stay back. Picked up here by Darren O'Sullivan. Brennan was near him, back to Donaghy again. Bear in mind, Dublin have had a very, very tough build-up to this championship, really, when you think about it. Kerry perceived to have had the easier run through, as that ball is kicked under pressure and is kicked wide, and it's a 6th wide of the match by the Kingdom, kicked that time by Declan O'Sullivan.
Once more, Declan O'Sullivan put under an awful lot of pressure at that time as he was kicking the ball, but a number of the players in the Kerry team are on the middle of the park, and I'm talking about Maher, about Sheehan, about Aidan O'Mahony. They're too one-pace at the moment. They don't seem to have the energy or that sharpness to get in and dispossess Dublin. Dublin seem to have all the energy and the verve around that area right now.
As Cluxton kicks out, and Dublin try to retain the possession. Kicked it towards Cahill that time, but it's Donnacha Walsh who gets there for Kerry. Now Brian Sheehan. A lot of this final still to be played. Aidan O'Mahony there forward. And again it's the dashing Darren O'Sullivan trying to cause consternation. Back to help out the defence was Dennis Bastick, and it's a bit of a mad helter-skelter challenge for it. Brian Sheehan on his hands and knees over there. Fists thrown. Donaghy and Michael Dara Macaulay, 2 of the players involved.
That time, definitely, I thought Darren O'Sullivan was fouled in the first place that time. Okay, as I think it was Maher was trying to get down on the ball, or Brian Sheehan was trying to get down on the ball to pick it up. Definitely, there was a foul on him.
You remember the semi-final, and Jack O'Connor was saying afterwards, we were glad of that tough match. Second half, he found it a tough game. The inference being that, by and large, they'd had a pretty okay run to the final. If you take into account the Munster final, which was a peculiar game in itself, in that Kerry went 35 minutes without scoring between the 2 halves. Here's Brian Sheehan, and he's measured it brilliantly to kick it over the bar. It's Kerry's first pointed free of this final, and it's come in the 43rd minute. 2 between them, 1-3 to 8 points. Kerry win the kick out. Marr does well. Tomas O'Shea now. Kicking long towards Donaghy. Route one, ball into Donaghy, and he fists it over the bar. 2 in a row for Kerry. They're right back in it. He's pumped up. The 82,300 here are looking forward to what could be an absolutely gripping second half.
Just watch that. I'm amazed that he didn't go for a goal that time. He had done the hard work, fielding it, got around his defender. Maybe he took the percentages, took the simpler of the two options.
I don't think he felt confident.
Well, there was definitely a goal on that time.
Cluxton kicking it out. Who's going to win it? Touchdown by Bastick, and Kerry win it. Declan O'Sullivan in there quickly, giving leadership. Brosnan on. Sheehan back to Brosnan and say, give it to me. Good run forward again. Oh, that was Declan O'Sullivan. And out came Ger Brennan. I think it was Ger Brennan who made the contact there, and he's got to be spoken to by the referee. And I'm sure he will say it wasn't intentional, referee.
Well, that was a bad tackle, but in fairness, I think Declan O'Sullivan was falling, but Ger Brennan met him very dangerously that time.
And Ger Brennan gets yellow for that. 3 Dublin players now are on yellow cards.
That was a very hard tackle, it must be said. Just watch him, he gets him that time at the elbow. He's a lucky man that the colour of the card wasn't red.
And there's going to be a temporary substitution required, because Declan O'Sullivan, as a result of that, took a hefty knock. And there's blood from his nose, and it's going to require a temporary substitute, I think. That's what they're intimating. Physios John Sugru and Bobby McQuinn looking after Kerry this year. So there will be a quick change, and it'll be Kieran O'Leary who will be back in.
Yeah, one little statistic actually from the last couple of minutes, that the last 3 Dublin kickouts, they've tried each one of them long, and they've lost the 3 in a row actually, and that is what has given Kerry the little bit of momentum to get those last couple of scores.
Very unusual, Martin, this year that they would lose 3 in a row, as that one is kicked brilliantly by Colin Cooper, and it's up and over the bar. First pointed free for him, and as attention is being rendered to Declan O'Sullivan, the teams are level now for the 3rd time. Kerry 1-5, Dublin 5 points. Dublin 8 points rather. And that's the reaction over there to that foul on their man Declan O'Sullivan. Meanwhile, Cluxton under pressure. Donaghy. O'Leary was trying to close in. Donegal Walsh takes it. Gets it back here to a better angle. Tomas O'Shea. Oh, it's going to drop to the left this time, and it's a wasted opportunity. Ball swerving away from O'Shea's boot. There's going to be a Dublin change very shortly, and Philly McMahon is going to come in, and the player he will be replacing, I think may well be in the half-back line. It's James McCarthy who's going to go.
Yes, I noticed James McCarthy at half-time came out with a bandage on his hamstring, so I think he probably picked up an injury during the first half.
So there is confirmation of that change then. Philly McMahon coming in to play his 12th championship match, and James McCarthy limping his way out of this final. He'll be disappointed, but happy at the end of 70 minutes if his team prevails. Level right now. In the middle of the park. Again, it's Dublin who goes scrambling for it. This time winning it. Ger Brennan, the man who was yellow carded just moments ago there, into Barry Cahill. 3 men around him, and the referee gives the free kick to Dublin. Dublin have scored 2 points in the second half so far. We're now 12 minutes into that.
Yeah, I thought on a number of occasions there in the area of engagement that soft enough frees have been given to Dublin.
Here's Philly McMahon, first touch for him. Inside towards Dermot Connolly, being marked there by Tom O'Sullivan. And the referee, I think, decided the ball was handled on the ground, and it's going to be a free kick, which Colin Cooper takes way back. The team captain, number 13, in as far as Darren O'Sullivan. This time, Donegal Walsh. Kerry making headway. Teams level at 88 points apiece. And Kerry's Donegal Walsh again trying to enhance their 1-5 scoreline. And the defence holding firm this time. Mick Fitzsimon's getting it out. Philly McMahon out as far as Ger Brennan, rounding Donaghy. It's there to be won. Both teams looking likely. Who's got the greater resolve? Michael Dara Macaulay will have the free kick, which is going to be taken for Dublin by Barry Cahill. Laterally as far as Paul Flynn. Dublin trying to impose themselves again on this match. Down to the brilliant Bernard Brogan, and Brogan chips it. Well, he's normally one of the most prolific scorers in the game, and that was so close.
Oh, he won that ball superbly in front of Killian Young. Fair play to Galvin, he got back at him, but I thought for a moment, even though he didn't hit the ball that sweetly, that it might have crept into the far corner.
Tantalising, but not quite tantalising enough for Pat Gilroy. Still level, 1-5 to 8 points. Kerry with possession. Killian Young advancing towards his 65-metre line. Paul Galvin a sub in the first half. Holding it, looking up. Well, he was thinking of a long ball in, but he had to adjust his thought pattern, I think, to hold possession. There's nothing really on initially. Tomas O'Shea now. Killian Young again. Taking away from Alan Brogan, Tomas O'Shea. They must have had that ball on the 65-metre line for the last 30 seconds. Finally, Anthony Marr, about to be confronted by Michael Dara Macaulay. Kicks it long. Two men in there. Donaghy trying to touch it down for Cooper. And the referee has blown his whistle as Donegal Walsh got onto it. Chipped it wide anyway. But you know the tactics at this stage. It's to go long inside towards Donaghy and then hoping that the layoff will be good for Cooper to finish.
Yeah, but that telepathy that's between Cooper, that we've seen so often between Cooper and Donaghy, is not active today. They haven't managed to link up with one another as often as they would have liked.
Alan Brogan. Cahill now. Again running into a lot of challenges, and he holds on too long. Kerry quickly taking the free. Up as far as a recovered Declan O'Sullivan. But it really is a fabled rivalry, this Kerry and Dublin. It stretches all the way back to 1892, and it's still a compelling attraction. Brian Sheehan holding still. Does it carry sufficiently? It does! It's a magnificent point by Brian Sheehan. Beautiful style of play. Fabulous technique here. Shrugged off the attentions of a couple of players, then got it back onto the left, central position, and he has pushed Kerry into a 1-point lead.
Yeah, that's wonderful composure at that time by Sheehan. Looked to be in trouble, looked to have run out of options, but held his nerve, didn't panic, got onto his left foot and shot at an excellent point.
Kevin McManaman on, as you can see, and the player who's gone off has been number 10 Paul Flynn. And now Kerry also making a change. Their number 21 Barry John Keane is coming on in place of Donegal Walsh. So alterations being made to the forces as we head in towards the final quarter of this year's All-Ireland football final, with Kerry edging it by just a point in a low enough scoring game. But a wonderfully intense battle at the same time. Kevin McManaman had made such a difference when he came on in the semi-final against Donegal. Back from Cullen to Macaulay. Everybody's searching for it. Nolan's in there. Finally comes out towards Owen Brosnan. Further back out here as far as Alan Brogan, 45 metres out, in as far as Barry Cowan. He's got a loose man inside. He's got a player inside. If he gives it to Kevin McManaman, and eventually the referee has blown his whistle because the ball was handled on the ground.
Kevin McManaman was, just watch him here, he was loose for an age here had he been seen by Barry Cahill. It's pleading for the ball. When he eventually gets it, the block is executed all right. Well, I'm not sure.
Where was the handle of the ball?
I didn't see any handling on the ground. I didn't see it.
Well, that's what the referee was indicating. Oh, maybe there, possibly, but that was
inside
hardly,
the small rectangle.
Yeah, but it was hardly intentional. And anyway, the referee has given it as a 13-metre free, Martin. Bernard Brogan's kicked it over.
Yeah, but a free like that inside the small rectangle, it should be a penalty.
That's right. It happened in the Cork-Kerry match. Mark O'Shea on that occasion. Referee definitely indicated that the free was given for a ball handled on the ground.
So it's a case of where was it handled? I thought, looking at the replay there, it was handled inside the small rectangle.
Referee doesn't have the benefit of that, and the teams are level for the 4th time. We're in the 53rd minute. Brian Sheehan on as far as the substitute. Barry, John Keane, Darren O'Sullivan, and it runs on beyond the Gooch and Mick Fitzsimons. Who got the last touch there? I think it was Fitzsimons. It's a 45. Oof. Down went Rory O'Carroll this time, and Kieran Donaghy's getting very hot under the collar.
Yeah, just watch the persistence that time by Cooper. Very clever play. Unlucky maybe from Fitzsimon's point of view to actually have conceded the 45. A little bit of stupidity that time between Donaghy and Rory O'Carroll. They've been mouthing at each other all afternoon, and I wouldn't say it's pleasantries they're exchanging.
Yeah. It's going to be a 45, which Brian Sheehan will kick anyway. Teams level, as you can see. Dublin 9, Kerry 1, 6. He's got 2 points so far, one of them from a free. So with the 54th minute, can he edge Kerry in front again? He's given it everything. His technique is brilliant. Wonderful straight line and over the bar.
Well, do you remember last year the All-Ireland final with Daniel Goulding? He got 3:45 in the second half, and it was the difference between winning and losing the All-Ireland final. Sheehan today has been superb on occasion from long-range kicks.
Billy McMahon, Cian O'Sullivan, both sides have had their moments in this final, but it's now there to be determined. Back once again to Billy McMahon. Kevin McManaman looking for possession, looking to take off, and he's left it behind. Barry Connell tries to help him, but Kerry were there in numbers, and Darren O'Sullivan picking it up. Good control, moving it smartly as far as Paul Galvin. They can play it along the line or go forward. They've only got Kieran Donaghy waiting inside. There's a huge gap between the middle third and Donaghy on his own inside in the large square. And Kerry hold it. Dublin have 2 markers against Donaghy. All this while, further in towards goal. Barry John Keane. Now Kerry can break. Darren O'Sullivan hauled down. And it's McManaman who's hauled him down. And it's going to be a free kick. And the referee might have a few words with the substitute for Dublin.
That was an unfortunate free kick from a Dublin point of view to concede. Kevin McManaman, noted as a forward, just panics a little bit and takes down Darren O'Sullivan necessarily and gives a good opportunity again to Sheehan to put it over the bar.
Well, obviously tackling not his strong suit, and the referee is going to give him a yellow card. So now we've got 4 yellow cards against Dublin players.
And you remember in the game against Cork last year, there were stupid frees conceded late in the game when Dublin played Cork, I think, that actually resulted in their ultimate defeat.
That's right, their discipline left them down in the last 10 minutes of that. You're quite right. It'll be Brian Sheehan to kick it. To add to the 3 points he's got so far. Inside the D, straight as a die and up and over. Another one for Kerry. And now they lead by 2, 1-8 to 9 points. There's 14 minutes left. And Dublin went short. The referee was holding up the play. Kieran Donaghy lamenting that his shot isn't going to count. Owen O'Gara's coming on for Dublin, number 20, and going off will be Barry Cahill. That's 3 changes now made by the Dublin management team to try and get the chemistry right in this final phase of the match, to try and engineer the victory. Dublin are 2 behind. Tomas O'Shea again. The lead has changed hands in this match 5 times so far. It's won by Kerry. Keane. In went the boot that time of Michael Darragh Macaulay. That's a free kick against him and against Dublin. And as you were saying, Martin, they've got to be careful now. They're still in there in the hunt for the Sam Maguire Cup in a very meaningful way. but they can't lose their composure.
Kerry haven't been in 8 All-Ireland finals in the last 10 years and not learned something about how to control games when they get a couple of points in front. And just that little bit of an experience in Dublin's part is manifesting itself now in the way they're conceding unnecessary free kicks within scoring distance, in particular when you've a player of Brian Sheehan's calibre to take long-range kicks.
Dublin Hatch fans. Fans pray, lament mistakes and wonder what's going to happen next. Oh dear. Well, take a look. This is what's going to happen. Brian Sheehan's going to try and kick this one from 50 metres out. It's one of the great assets that Kerry have got, free takers of the calibre of Cooper and Sheehan. And Sheehan with the capacity usually to hit them from a fair old distance out. Start of this championship campaign, Brian Sheehan with a couple of goals against Tipperary and Killarney. Now at the end of the voyage, barring a replay, this to try and put his team 3 ahead. 12 minutes left. Stopped on the line by Claxton, an important intervention. Back out as far as Kevin Nolan. Oh, blocked. Cooper got there. Nolan recovers and then has the presence of mind to pick out Philly McMahon. And Dublin set off again. Connolly's come deep inside his own 65-metre line. Work to do from here. A couple of players to aim at. One of them, Kevin McMenamin, against Aidan O'Mahony, trying to skin him. Succeeds. Hit poorly with the left. Straight to Keeley. Good precise ball out as far as Barry John Keane. And the counter-attack now led by Mark O'Shea, ostensibly the fullback. Nolan tries to stop him. Doesn't put pay to his gallop. It's still O'Shea. Now Galvin. And once again Declan O'Sullivan played a major role in Kerry's performance this afternoon. Killian Young. Looking for it here is Owen Brosnan. Man who missed the final in 09 against Cork. Barry John Keane. Galvin fisting it, but poorly fisting it. He gives the ball away, and that kind of turnover now could lead to a possible Dublin move at the other end if they can get the ball. They've lost it. Darren O'Sullivan hauled down. Oh dear. Well, that kind of impetuosity is exactly the thing that Pat Gilroy doesn't need at this stage. As you could see there, Cian O'Sullivan diving in on top of the man who blocked a real goal chance by Donaghy in the first half, has given away a free kick here in an eminently scoreable position.
Yeah, I've admired Dublin's tenacity throughout, but tenacity has to be balanced with huge discipline and a cool head. And, you know, presence of mind is so important between now and the final whistle, in particular when you're in defensive situations and when you are, you know, in a danger of conceding frees within kickable distance. And that time, that was crazy on the part of Cian O'Sullivan.
So, Jack O'Connor with problems to address. He's got to make sure that his team stay focused at this stage, not relax at any stage in the game. Cian O'Sullivan about to be yellow carded, so another one seeing yellow. The major problems, however, are Pat Gilroy's. Free kick coming up this time to be taken by Colm Cooper. A goal and a point already in this match. That's 4 goals he's scored in All-Ireland finals. And now a point to go with that. A goal and 2 for Cooper. And Kerry fans are already contemplating taking the Sam Maguire Cup back home with them to Killarney tomorrow night. Donaghy pulling the jersey of Fitzsimons. Off goes Ger Brennan. Here's Connolly. An attempt to take him down the first time. Declan O'Sullivan after him. Galvin in with the challenge. Ball handled on the ground. And it's a free kick to Kerry.
Dublin are making an awful lot of mistakes at the moment. I think they've expended so much energy in the context of their defensive work that they're now running into a little bit of energy deficit and just conceding frees that they wouldn't have done earlier on in the match.
3-point gap. Again, it's Killian Young. Sheehan takes it down. Swiftly forward there as far as Tomas O'Shea. Sheehan again. Chipping it into space. Keane's there for it. Barry John Keane. Kerry's O'Reilly man. Sets off past Fitzsimons. Where's that going to end up? It's just outside. close. Not quite close enough, however.
Yeah, it was an ambitious shot by a young lad, but it must be said he was very unlucky that time. It just drifted off at the last minute. I thought he had nailed it.
And Dublin about to make another change. And Eamon Fennell has come into midfield, going off Dennis Bastick. It's a particular Dublin policy to freshen up midfield, but they need a lot of freshening up because Colin Cooper is off, and Cooper steadies himself and knocks it brilliantly over the bar. He's got a goal and 3 now, and Kerry and their fans will feel they're within touching distance of victory in the All-Ireland. 110 to 9 points. Daniel Bohan has come in. As we watch that again, that's a lovely score by Cooper. Bohan is on number 17 there for Owen Brosnan. So Kerry's turn to freshen up proceedings, and they must be looking confident. Might have had problems earlier on, Jack O'Connor, but right now it's going nicely for them. But a goal for Dublin would unsettle all of that. It's a free kick. Cian O'Sullivan. Under 7 minutes to go. Alan Brogan sent in. McMenamin dodging. McMenamin scoring! There's a point between the teams, and Kevin McMenamin has kicked a beauty and sent Dublin fans into raptures. 64 minutes on the clock. Beautiful pass, wonderful work, precision here by McMenamin. He made a difference in the semi-final, and when he took the pass from Brogan here, he's made a difference in the final itself, rounding Declan O'Sullivan and beating Brendan Keeley 110 to 1-9. It ain't over yet.
Wonderful conviction that time from, it must be said, from Kevin McMenamin. What a bad mistake further out the field by Declan O'Sullivan, who conceded possession far too easily.
Now who's going to win the All-Ireland? Tom O'Sullivan and Anthony Marr in the end from that pass from O'Sullivan. Down went Michael Derra-McCauley, free to Dublin, and now they come looking for the equaliser at the very least. David Connolly, 45 minutes out, he's got a loose player on the side. Kevin Nolan hitting one, and it's over! They're level! Kevin Nolan, his first ever point in Championship football, has lit up Croke Park, and in the 65th minute, as he kicked it from 35 metres out, straight between the posts, he's made it Dublin 110, Kerry 110, and the teams are level for the 5th time.
Well, you just have to salute the character of the Dublin team. They looked down and out for a couple of moments, but 2 mistakes, one from 2 very experienced players, one Declan O'Sullivan, the other Tom O'Sullivan, and gave 2 opportunities to Dublin, and they took both with aplomb. They're 2 great scores. Now it's anybody's game.
What a final. Tremendous entertainment provided by Dublin and Kerry, and this goal again has Croke Park humming. Wonderful score. And now it's Kerry's turn to try and come and reclaim the lead. Declan O'Sullivan trying to go by, stopped. Referee says play on. He does. Alan Brogan's after him. Still Declan O'Sullivan, back as far as Killian Young. Further back to Tom O'Sullivan. Kerry will have felt that they almost had this match won. They were 4 points ahead. 7 minutes to go. Now back at level pegging. They've got a free kick. Owen O'Gara committed the foul on Anthony Marr. Paul Galvin with ball in hand. Now will they kick it long? Will they try and somehow create a scoring opportunity nearer to goal? Galvin the architect. Oh, it's beautifully done by Barry John Keane. Used his body to shield the ball from the opponent, and Kerry have it. Tomas O'Shea slipped in as far as Darren O'Sullivan. Hasn't scored, but my goodness, how he's played. Barry John Keane giving it back to Darren. It's further back as far as Galvin. Tomas O'Shea, second shaved off the clock. 4 minutes left. Huge ball outside. towards Killian Young, back again towards Cooper, the captain, trying to take on Fitzsimons. Down he went. Referee doesn't whistle. It's still Cooper. Challenged this time by Alan Brogan. Back further towards Anthony Marr. Teams level. Inside it goes towards Barry John Keane, trying to slip inside his marker, falling down. Connolly's after him. Was disciplined. Ball turned over. Given as far as Kevin McManaman. And McManaman 45 minutes to his own goal. Back towards Ger Brennan. And now Dublin's turn to hold possession and try to steal that ball forward. McManaman again, cagily forward. Sheehan's after him. On it goes towards Owen O'Gara. Drops it. Slipped back inside again towards the captain, Brian Cullen. Forward once again beyond Bernard Brogan. Goalkeepers come out. Keeley opting to kick it forward, and they try to keep it in play over there. Don't succeed. In spite of the best attempts over there of Killian Young, the 24-year-old from Renard. 68 minutes on the clock. Diarmuid Connolly. It's going to be a late winner if there's going to be a winner today. Connolly advancing for Dublin. Hill roaring him on. Still Connolly. Dished into Michael Darrow McCauley. Very awkward angle. Holding. Trying to make a better angle. Comes back towards Bernard Brogan. He's nailed it! What a kick by Bernard Brogan! It's his 6th of the match. What a time to go into the lead. Look at the clock. 69 minutes are gone. It's Dublin 111. Kerry 110. Kick-outs taken quickly. Dublin with it again. Kevin Nolan. Back as far as Kevin McManaman. McManaman holding. It's a time for cool hearts and cool nerves at this stage. Dublin by 1. McManaman again. What a game he's played since being introduced. Alan Brogan back to Nolan. He scored 1. Lays one off to Darragh McCauley this time. Going for another one. It's high. It's up there. And the umpire said no, no, no. Wide.
Well, that was a wonderful opportunity to put two between them just coming into the last minute. But Dublin have really got so much energy, so much over the last couple of moments from those couple of scores, and looked a more likely team at this stage.
Killian Young kicking it across to Mark O'Shea. Now there's a lot of ground to make up to get it towards the Dublin goal. And Kerry are coming looking for the equaliser. Tomas O'Shea. Paul Galvin. Kerry still look menacing. Brian Sheehan swiftly out there. On towards the substitute Daniel Bohan. To Donaghy. High up into the clouds. Gooch is in there. Doesn't need the Gooch, it's gone over. It's a remarkable point by Kieran Donaghy. He's kicked his second. He's kicked the team's level. Are we heading for a replay for the first time in 11 years? 2 minutes of additional time to be played. 111 to 111.
Well, you have to credit Kieran Donaghy that time. Talk about courage, talk about bravery and character to take on that shot, never mind score it. Fair dues to him.
If there's a replay, it'll be in 2 weeks' time, we believe. It's 111 to 111. Oh, Ger Brennan was given a free kick, and he's now knocked Donaghy out of the way, and the free kick is going to be cancelled. And that kind of silliness will annoy Pat Gilroy and the management team, and correctly so. 15 seconds nearly into stoppage time at the beginning of 2 minutes of it, and the game there to be won.
Well, that's stupid, it must be said, to lose the opportunity of going up and winning, getting the winning score.
Back come Dublin again. Alan Brogan, McManaman. Is there a winner? Who's going to get it? Will it be today? McCauley. On as far as Connolly. Stopped in his tracks by Aidan O'Mahony. Still Diarmuid Connolly. Kerry back defending. McManaman attacking. And he's tripped. And it's a free in. A free kick to win the All-Ireland. And they're going to bring up their goalkeeper, Stephen Cloxton, to see if he can put this one over the bar and win the title for Dublin for the first time since 1995. What drama in Croke Park.
Well, it's extraordinary. In her scene set beforehand, I talked about Stephen Cloxton, talked about his importance to the Dublin team, and talked about his ability to accurately kick frees from distance. Now he has the most important kick of his career for Dublin, for the supporters. Let's see, can he hold his nerve?
Stephen Cloxton, the fans trying to hold their nerves in his 55th championship match. 15 points in his career so far. He's already got one today. The distance with the angle about 45 metres. Here he comes to win the All-Ireland. Cluxton, he's put it over the bar, and Dublin are in front by 112 to 111. Cluxton, the hero, and the 2 minutes of added time has been played, and we now wait for the referee's whistle. Referee looks at his watch. Kerry, it's all over. Dublin have won the All-Ireland. The most dramatic, the most wonderful of finishes. Kerry beaten, Dublin